Hello, scoundrels. How is it going? I'm looking over this way because I have brought my travel microphone today, so I might be looking slightly away from the camera, just because it's I like to keep it away from the laptop because my laptop produces a lot of heat and a lot of sound because it's a gaming laptop and it has a big graphics card in it, so I like to keep my microphone as far away from the laptop as possible. So, hey scoundrels, how's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely day. I am currently in Cornwall with the family. This is the hotel room, and you can see Rupert Poopert sleeps in that little thing over there. So I'm currently in Cornwall with the family. And today I thought I'd do a relatively quick video. Likely until I get home, my videos will be relatively quick. I'm talking about sort of small specific topics. But I hope you've been enjoying the content that I've been putting out so far. I'm one of many great content creators. There are people like Sovereign and Captain Benzie and all those kind of people that produce loads of great... Oh, and Revdeuce. I really enjoy Revdeuce's content. He's a really nice guy as well. So lots of really interesting people creating content for you guys. I'm just one of many. If you feel like you'd like to subscribe to me, there is a subscribe button down below. No pressure, but it always helps with having extra subscribers and people commenting on the videos and stuff. And if you'd like to support me that way, I'd be more than happy to have your support. Okay, so today we're going to talk about story missions and all of their rewards and all of the tiers that you have to fight, as well as the kind of chests that you're going to get. If you want a full list, I will paste it into the description below and I'll put it in the pinned comment. So I thought I'd start here on the Caldari page with Bad Hair Day. Bad Hair Day is one of the harder storyline missions to complete. It is worth, so when you accept this quest, it has a reward of 200 million, and you're going to get access to the Hunter supply chest, which has got a lot of large fittings. Now, what I would say is the large fittings are not worth or not worth a lot right now because we don't have access to any ships that can fit them. But when Tier 7 comes along, it may be that you'll start finding that these are worth a lot more. However, it does have things like the Enterprise Adaptive Invulnerability Field, which is on the market selling for like 44 million. So this, that particular loot chest has actually got some really good loot pools that you could consider and have a look at. But there's lots of things in here that are worth a significant amount. Interruptive and Predator warp disruptors, they're worth a lot of money. So there are things that you can find from this chest that's worth a lot. So Bad Hair Day in the Caldari missions is worth 200,000. It is a tier 10, so it recommends that you have a tier 10 battleship at the very least. You can do it with the group. Obviously, you don't need tier 10 to do it, but you'll be fighting against tier 10 level enemies, the highest level anomaly in the game. It's worth 200 million, and you get yourself access to that Hunter supply chest, which has mostly large fittings, as well as some fittings that are worth a good amount of money as well. So secondly, for Patriotism, the next Caldari mission. For Patriotism is probably... it's probably one of the easier missions to do in the game. It is a tier 6 requirement, so you'll be fighting up against... tier 6 level enemies. You'll get access to this Patriot supply chest, which is mostly small fittings and does not have a huge amount in terms of like high value loot. In terms of high value loot from this, I would say the single diode miner probably sells for a decent amount on the market, as well as the Upir medium or Upir small Nosferatu. For Patriotism though, it's worth 15 million. So it's a relatively easy quest to complete. And you get a small amount of loot from it, and it's only level tier 6. Actually, for the most part, it's very likely that if you're in a tier 6 cruiser, you could probably solo for Patriotism with relative ease. It's one of the easier storyline missions to do. Okay, now having a look at the third Caldari quest, which is Mega Corporation. This is worth 30 million, so you'll get access to a reward of 30 million ISK for completing this, and you'll have access to the Soldier Supply Chest, which has a sort of a myriad of medium weapons, which are worth a decent amount on the market right now. And again, a little bit like the large option, you'll have access to some really high value shield equipment. Shield equipment sells on the market for a very high amount, mainly because most people are shield tanks. So the Soldier Supply Chest is worth a decent amount. And the tier of Mega Corporation is 8. So you'll be going up against tier 8 anomaly stuff, which includes things like battleships and battle cruisers. Or at least battle cruisers anyway, for sure. I don't think I might have fought a battleship. But irrespective, battle cruisers definitely in tier 8. And again, Mega Corporation worth 30 million. Probably not one that you can solo, but one that you could do with 2 or 3 people with relative ease. And finally, A Soldier's Way gives you access to the same loot supply crate of a Soldier Supply Chest, which is the same one that is available in the Mega Corporation storyline mission. This mission, however, is worth 65 million. And so you'll get 65 million ISK on completion. Again, tier 8, so the same as Mega Corporation, but it is a little harder to complete. But definitely something that you could probably do with 3 or 4 people. You could multi-box it, but it might take a little bit longer as well. But it's worth a decent amount of money. So to sum up, the Caldari story missions, Bad Hair Day worth 200 million, tier 10. For Patriotism worth 15 million, tier 6. Mega Corporation worth 30 million, tier 8. And A Soldier's Way worth 65 million and also tier 8. Soldier's Way and Mega Corporation will give you loot boxes which give you access to medium weapons, as well as a myriad of other attributes or fittings. For Patriotism is going to be a small weapon chest, and Bad Hair Day will be a large weapon chest. And again, the higher tier, the more access to kind of like accessory loot like shield hardeners and warp disruptors that you're going to sort of get your hands on as well. So a lot of very profitable missions on the Caldari side of things. Okay, starting off with Angel or Devil. This is the jointly tied for the most reward that you can get from a storyline mission. You're going to get access to the Guardian supply chain chest, which has got a lot of large sort of weapon fittings again. And also you'll have access to a lot of extra fittings alongside that as well. You've got things like the Interruptive Warp Disruptor, the Elusive Missile control system. Lots of very high value loot available in the Guardian supply chest, and it's worth 250 million. And much like the other 200 million Caldari mission, it is worth sort of a tier 10, so it's something that will be very difficult for you to do by yourself and probably will require a small fleet to get through. Okay, moving on to Matar Reborn. So, just double checking here, Matar Reborn is worth 90 million. I'm actually currently on this mission assignment, so it is worth 90 million. You'll get access to medium loot with a lot of extra sort of things that you can sort of get your hands on, like this Posse Adaptive Shield Invulnerability Field, which I know is worth a decent amount on the market right now. So there's lots available in Matar Reborn. It's also worth 90 million. The level of ships that you will face are tier 8, so up to battle cruisers and so on and so forth. But tier 8 is the level of ship that you'll be facing in Matar Reborn, so just be aware of that. But it is worth 90 million. I have managed to do this with 2 people, if using the kiting technique, where you have one person take the aggro, the other one do the damage, then warp out and do the same thing. So just be aware that Matar Reborn is something that you will need at least one other person to do. You can multi-box it, but it'll take a little bit of time. But it is definitely a very, very strong contender for an easier mission to get completed as a group. All right, moving over to Disaster Relief. Disaster Relief, again, will get you the same box here, the Survivor Supply Chest. It'll get you access to exactly the same things that Matar Reborn will give you access to, including a lot of these medium missiles. And Disaster Relief is worth 45 million ISK, and it is also tier 8. So 45 million ISK for Disaster Relief, and it is also another tier 8 mission. And then for Freedom, one of the easier missions to complete here for the Amar side of things, it will get you access to the Revolt supply chest, which has a lot of small fittings. And again, some small fittings can be worth a decent amount of money, but most of them are likely not worth a ridiculous amount. The mine are probably being one of the most sought after pieces of equipment from the Revolt supply chest. And this particular mission, so I'm just going to double check, for Freedom is worth 20 million, and it is the tier 6 mission. So you'll be fighting against tier 6 rats, one of those ones that you could very likely solo if you have a really good tier 6 setup, and it's worth 20 million upon completion. So that is all of the Minmitar story missions. Okay, let's take a look at the Amar story missions and Friends by Blood. Now, Friends by Blood is jointly... actually, no, I actually misspoke earlier. Angel or Devil is not jointly tied. I just actually, unfortunately, misread the Excel document that I've been given here. Angel or Devil is worth the most at 250 million. And Friends by Blood is tied with Bad Hair Day, worth 200 million. So 200 million for Friends by Blood. And it will be worth... Oh, so it'll give you access to the Martyr supply chest. It said Matar for a second. The Martyr supply chest. And again, lots of good armor hardening equipment here. Lots of large pulse lasers and large beam lasers, which are not worth a huge amount on the market right now because not that many people use lasers. And obviously, no one can really access the large equipment or ships that can use the large equipment. But there's lots of good, like Interruptive Warp Disruptors, Aura Core, Warp Core Stabilizers worth a lot. And obviously, as you can see here, Armor Hardeners are also worth a decent amount too. And that's worth 200 million. And again, another tier 10 level anomaly ships thing. So tier 10 ships you'll be facing in the Friends by Blood. Spark of Rebellion. So Spark of Rebellion is another one of the easier ones here for the Amar storylines. It is worth 25 million, and you'll be fighting tier 6 ships rather. And then when you get the small supply chest, lots of small beam lasers. They're not worth a huge amount, but again, armor hardeners can be worth a decent amount. Single diode miner is definitely worth a good amount as well. So obviously you're looking out for the miner here when opening the small supply chest. Tier 6 should be relatively easy to complete. So yeah, if you're soloing it, you should be able to. True Divine Trial, I've actually done this one quite a few times. True Divine Trial is I'm just going to double check on what it's worth. It is worth 75 million. You're going up against tier 8 Emily's. That's my wife's name. Tier 8 enemies. And it will be giving you the Devout supply chest, which has got medium level laser equipment, medium armor stuff, and it's got some things like the Aura Corp Burst Stabilizer, the Interruptive Warp Disruptor. You can get some good loot out of the Devout supply chest. And again, I found this relatively easy to complete by myself. I was using a secondary account to draw the aggro, but I was able to do it by myself. So that is something that you can solo in a tier 6 battle cruiser with the right equipment, as long as you are either having a friend kite for you or you have a secondary account to do so. And then you have Divine Redemption. So Divine Redemption is worth, if I just double check, Divine Redemption is, here we go. Divine Redemption is worth 50 million. Again, another tier 8 ship storyline mission. And you'll get access to the Devout supply chest, which is exactly the same as the one for True Divine Trial. And that is all of the Amar missions and their reward totals that you can get. Okay, with Galente, I'm actually going to start with probably one of the most the easiest and most recognizable missions from the Galente missions, which is Super Soft Drink, which gets you access to the Quaif exclusive supply chest, and again some rail guns that you can find here. And what you'll notice, I'll talk about it at the end, but what you'll notice is each supply chest gives you the weapons that are native to that faction. So armor hardeners, as you can see. And again, single diode miner is one of the more luxurious items from this particular mission. Now, this mission has recently been changed. You used to be able to just straight up loot the items that you needed and sort of cheese the mission for an easy 25 million. That is not the case anymore. You cannot cheese this. It is worth 25 million, and it's a tier 6 level storyline mission. And actually, I found that with 2 people, as long as you're able to kite effectively, it's a relatively easy mission to complete, even though you can't cheese it anymore. All right, let's have a look. I'm going to sneeze in a second, guys. Business Magnate. This gets you access to Investor Supply Chest, which has some medium weapons in it, as well as, again, more armor hardening equipment. Lots of really high-level armor hardening equipment that you can find here. Aura Warp Core Stabilizer, Predator, and Interruptive Warp Disruptor, which is really good. Predator Warp Disruptor, I think, is on the market for a ridiculous amount of money right now. Yeah, I mean, if you get a Predator Warp Disruptor, you're getting 40 million extra just from the mission assignment alone. And again, this is worth, if I have a look, Business Magnate, this is worth 65 million, and it is a tier 8 level storyline mission, so you'll be facing enemies that you would be facing in tier 8 anomalies, which can make it relatively difficult to complete. You would definitely need to do this one in a group. I would say that outside of the tier 6 level storyline missions, you should be looking to either do a group or at least multi-box or work with a friend for the majority of these missions. Modern World will get you access to exactly the same supply crate, the Investor Supply Crate, which is going to be the medium weapons supply crate. And again, this is another tier 8 mission, and this is worth, if I just double check, this is actually only worth 15 million, Modern World. So Modern World is actually only worth 15 million. I guess it must be relatively easy to complete. I've never actually tried it myself, but I'm calling to this sheet. Unless the sheet that I've been given by the devs is incorrect, in which case, if it is, I've never actually found this mission. But I'm being told that Modern World is worth 15 million, and if it's worth 15 million, I assume it only has a very limited number of steps to complete it, rather than maybe just killing one wave of enemies, unlike some of the other ones requiring 2. But it does get you access to the Investor Supply Chest. If that is incorrect, by the way, guys, because it does seem a bit weird that it's actually joint lowest value, but it might just be that it's a short mission. But I'm being told, according to the dev file that I've been given, that it's worth 15 million for Modern World, but you do get access to the Investor Supply Chest. And then Sweet Poison, which is the large chest Galente mission. And again, you're going to find large railguns here, as well as some large fittings, as well as access to a lot of drone damage amplifiers. Galente do like to use drones, and Predator and Interruptive Warp Disruptors. This mission is worth If I double check, Sweet Poison. This mission is worth 50 million, according to this, and it's a tier 10 mission. And again, I'm supposing there is a fire alarm. Give me a second. Okay, so fire alarm is over, apparently. Right, so that is the full list of missions and what they are sort of giving you. And again, Caldari will give you access mostly to either missiles and shield equipment, as well as missile boosting systems. Minmitar will give you access in terms of loot supply crates to generally autocannons and shield equipment. So you'll find that Caldari and Minmitar are both shield tanking equipment as well as autocannons. Amar and Galente will give you access to lasers for Amar and armor tanking equipment, mostly from the loot boxes. And Galente will give you access to railguns and armor tanking equipment, because in general, Caldari ships are missiles and shield tanking, as well as some railguns there. Minmitar are mostly, they can mix between armor tank and shield tank, but they're mostly autocannon focused and shield tanks. Amar are mostly laser and armor tanks, and Galente is mostly railguns and armor tanks, which is why you get access to those particular pieces of equipment from the loot supply chests. It's been a relatively simple video. I'm going to write all of the information down in the description below. I'm actually going to cut this bit into the start of the video so you guys are aware. If you want a full list, I will paste it into the description below, and I'll put it in the pinned comment. But basically, this is the information that I've been given from the devs in terms of the list of rewards. It does seem like some of the Galente ones are pretty low, especially Sweet Poison, which is what's supposed to be like an end game mission, and it's a tier 10 one, but you don't get much in the way of rewards from it. But I haven't actually had access to that one yet or completed it, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, that's the full mission list for you guys. Relatively simple video today because I'm on holiday, but I hope it's good enough. I'll see you soon.